Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Healthy Eating at Home presentation. My name is Caitlin Gaho, and I'm with Sharp Health Plan with the Best Health team.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Vargas. I'm also with the Best Health team, a wellness consultant here at Sharp Health Plan.
And today we wanted to focus on the benefits of healthy eating, the basics of healthy eating, challenges of eating healthy, especially right now, and strategies to eat healthier during COVID-19.
So let's talk a little bit about why we're here about healthy eating. Healthy eating has several benefits. It can help you feel and look good, do activities that you want to be able to do. You can get sick less often. There's evidence that with a better diet, you can prevent and control chronic conditions better. You reduce stress, improve energy, decrease inflammation. There's just a long list of things and reasons that people might want to eat healthier. Some of these are long-term and some of these are shorter-term benefits, but it can be helpful to recognize what your why is and how you might start to feel differently as you change your eating habits. So keep that in mind as we move along. So today we are going to run through nutrition at a pretty basic level, but we want to provide some useful tools and tips for what eating healthy generally means. So and this means to include fruits and vegetables into your diet, to include healthy fats, healthy carbs, and fiber, and then limit things like unhealthy fats, sodium, sugar, and also hydrate. And the reason why we're going to go into these things on a more basic level is because nutrition can get very complex. And getting into specific information for a certain individual can be difficult, especially depending on different chronic conditions one may be managing. So this is just a good time to also mention that if you have specific concerns, it is a great idea to talk to your primary care provider, and you might even consider working with a registered dietitian if you have specific issues you'd like to address. So exploring these a little bit more closely, you want to make sure to include in your diet what we call healthy fats, which are mono or polyunsaturated fats. These are things that come from natural fats like avocado, olive oil, nuts, fish, and olives. Conversely, you want to limit the unhealthy fats, which are saturated fats or trans fats. These are animal products, meat, skin, whole milk, dairy, and also in fried foods. And you want to make sure that you are getting complex carbs, healthy carbs. These come from whole grains. These come from and the reason why you want to have healthy carbs is because healthy carbs can digest actually slower, so they help you have longer term energy. Less healthy carbs are your processed carbs, your simple grains, and these types of carbs are something that is going to digest far quicker and have a much higher glycemic index, generally speaking. So fiber is also really important to helping lower cholesterol. It controls blood sugar, maintains healthy body weight, and regulates your bowel movement. So these are all really good things to include into your diet. And then, of course, we also want to limit sodium and sugar. Sodium and sugar are in a lot of processed foods and restaurant foods. So you want to be mindful to check the labels on your yogurts, your salad dressings, and other condiments, canned goods, frozen dinners. They can all be really high in sodium because sodium is used as a preservative. So just remember, it doesn't have to taste salty to be high in sodium. And then lastly, we want to make sure that we hydrate well. Hydration flushes out waste. It helps you maintain your temperature, relieves constipation. And, we get a lot of questions on how much is the right amount of water for me. And I think kind of depending on the day or depending on the person, there's not necessarily one right answer to that. But we do like to use what we call the urine check, which is that your urine should be pale yellow. And if it's not, if it's darker than that, then you're probably not getting enough water. And if it is pale yellow, then you're probably getting enough. So those are just things to keep in mind. And again, these are really general concepts when it comes to eating well. So we're going to move to some tips on how to make sure that you're doing these things well within your routine.
Yes, thank you, Julie. So we wanted to talk about colorful eating. An easy way to ensure you get enough nutrients is to eat a variety of colored foods. Peppers, oranges, bananas, broccoli, eggplants, all different colors. An example of that would be like spinach has potassium and magnesium, and carrots have vitamin A. So just having a variety of foods can help with getting different vitamins and nutrients. And then some general tips to go through on how to add more fruits and veggies. A couple of things we've talked about is keeping a bowl of fruit on the counter, making veggie snack bags for on the go, and having cut fruit and vegetables so they're ready to eat. And also seasoning your vegetables to make them more tasty and flavorful. Substituting spaghetti squash or zucchini noodles with pasta is always an option, even doing half of those as zucchini noodles, half as pasta. Same thing with mashed cauliflower and substituting that for mashed potatoes. Just some ways to get some fruits and vegetables in your diet. Julie, do you have any ideas on ways that you've added fruits and veggies in your diet?
Yeah, so one of the things that my family loves to do is to actually just sneak in some kale or some spinach into smoothies. And of course, smoothies are loaded with vegetables or fruit and vegetables sometimes anyway. But this can be a great way to introduce fruits and veggies to kids too, and just make them a little bit more palatable if they struggle with getting fruits and veggies. Of course, just be mindful about the amount of sugar that can be in smoothies. Just with all of the fruit in them already, or a lot of the smoothies that are out there at certain restaurants might be very large. So just something to be mindful of. But I do love sneaking in a vegetable or two into my son's smoothies. It seems to work for us. How about you?
That's great. I love that. For us, we usually just have a veggie tray on hand, so we can just throw some carrots and vegetables and, celery and broccoli on the kids' plates, or for us, for me, snacking throughout the day. So that's a big one for us.
That's a great one.
And lastly, we just want to talk about some tips on how to eat healthier. Um, Planning ahead is really important. Meal prepping, making a grocery list, having healthy snacks on hand, like we talked about. I think that can help a lot with eating healthier throughout the week if you do prepare. Also, knowing your labels, checking the serving size, checking the sugars and the fats, um, thinking about your choices, choosing healthy fats, and limiting processed foods, and also increasing your fiber intake. Like we talked about with fruits and vegetables and whole grains, that can give you a lot of fiber. Also, don't drink your calories. I know that's a big one. We want to avoid drinking sodas, juices, alcohol, and coffee drinks. And so maybe limiting those things, not just completely cutting those out. So maybe swapping a LaCroix or sparkling water for those sugary beverages like soda or juice, or even adding lemon or some fruit to your water just to make it a little bit more fun and enjoyable to drink. So just remember, small changes can make a huge difference. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
So let's move into some of the challenges of healthy eating, especially right now during the times of COVID-19. And as we go through this list, we hope to kind of break down some of these challenges and really help us find some strategies to dealing with them. So we know that emotional and stress eating can be a big thing right now. There's often easy access to less healthy foods, and this is true even before COVID-19 times. I think just being able to run through a drive-through really quickly, or get takeout, or even pop something into the oven that's maybe a processed TV dinner or something like that. Like sometimes having access to less healthy foods is just easier. So we have to figure out strategies to make getting fresh food actually easy. Time to food prep and do the dishes for the entire family. I know this is one that I often struggle with in my own household. So, just trying to figure out strategies to make that a little bit easier, especially with all of the added workload and challenges going on right now. Sometimes there's also a bit of confusing information. And what I mean by this is not that, there's not more definitive ways to eat healthy, but really meaning that sometimes out there, there might be a new diet that you've seen that you're not sure if that's the best way to eat, or a new article that comes out that says something different about coffee, or something that you've had in your diet for a while. And what we want to do is, again, because there can be confusing information, is we want to try to distill that down to these general rules of eating healthy, because that is really the basic guide for improving your nutrition. And then feeling safe and buying and ordering food is a specific challenge right now during COVID-19. So we'll provide some strategies of how you can make sure that you're doing that in the healthiest, safest way. So let's do that. Let's move into these strategies.
All right. And one of those challenges, like we talked about, was emotional eating. So we want to move into some strategies on managing that. Emotional eating is where you don't always eat simply to satisfy hunger. We turn to food for comfort, stress relief, or reward. So one of the things we talked about would be having a list of stress management techniques, like deep breathing, taking a walk, doing meditation or mindfulness, reading a book, different things like that to decrease stress. Also practicing environmental control. So controlling access to those foods that could maybe get you into trouble. So possibly hiding or getting rid of the cookies or candy or chips or high caloric snacks could be a great idea. Also staying accountable and pausing before eating. So staying accountable with yourself, maybe even having a friend that you call if you feel like you're going to emotionally eat. So, and also pausing, like we talked about, was mindful eating. Mindful eating is where you sit down and you pause before you eat and you think about what you are eating. And also maybe asking yourself, is eating this really going to alleviate my anxiety? Just a couple things that can help with managing that. Also, making an eating schedule and spacing meals out evenly is important when you plan it. And lastly, making sure to include time for healthy meals as part of your daily activities. So adding eating in there with gardening or watching a show or reading a book, just making sure that that's part of your activity on a daily basis. Also, accessing fresh foods. So this can be a challenge right now is getting some fresh foods. So a lot of times we've talked about trying local produce boxes where they send you different types of produce, fruits and vegetables, and there may be ones in there that you've never tried. So this could be a fun time to change up the way that you cook or add more fruits and vegetables into your cooking. Also, maybe getting your groceries delivered if you don't have time or you're nervous to go to the store is always a great way to have fresh food. And then ordering healthy or takeout and adding a salad or a vegetable on the side and make sure the vegetable is just not fried and the salad maybe has a vinaigrette or dressing on the side so you can do less of it. And then choosing frozen foods and vegetables or canned low sodium beans or vegetables. There's a misnomer with frozen fruits and vegetables that there's not enough nutrients in them, but they're actually flash frozen, so they do keep their nutritional value, which is great. So that's always an option. And lastly, another option is starting a home garden if it's feasible. I know I have some fruit trees in the back, which is always great for fresh fruit, but maybe adding some squash, some tomatoes. Those are easy to do. A couple of my friends have done that recently. I don't know if Julie, did you want to add? I think you were talking about adding herbs to your backyard?
Yeah, I mean, just for those of us without a green thumb, I do love working in my yard, but gardening, having a big garden is just not an option for me. But I have done a little herb garden where I have got some jalapeno peppers and some basil growing, and I think it's just a nice way to be able to kind of clip some herbs for your dinners and still introduce some of those fresh garnishes, if you will, and kind of adding in some spices that are fresh and have more nutrients than maybe something that's dried, or adding salt or something that you would want to avoid. So it can just be a nice way to add a little something, add a little punch to your dish. I've enjoyed it. So let's also talk about the specific challenges and strategies from ordering from restaurants safely. So a lot of people ask, is it safe to order from restaurants right now? And in short, it really is. But of course, there are some tips to reduce the risk. And we want to make sure that we're doing that, not only so we can feel more comfortable with the food that we're bringing home to our families, but also so we feel like on those days that you really do need some support to get food, and you're tired of maybe making some food at your house, that you are getting healthy options. So here's some tips to reduce risk. Order only from businesses that you feel confident are following the highest level of hygiene and food safety guidelines. Make sure that you're choosing a low or no contact method, maybe such as leaving the order at your doorstep or paying online before picking up the takeout at the restaurant. Wearing a face covering if you're leaving home to pick up food. Of course, that is a requirement right now. Avoid touching shared equipment such as door handles, counters, touchpads, and pens. And also transfer the food from restaurant packaging into your own plates and storage containers. That can be just a nice way to just make sure that you're eliminating any potential germs from being in your household. And of course, remember to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. And then additionally, we want to make sure that these choices that we're ordering from restaurants are healthy. So this is a nice list here, our pick it and skip it list, just so when you're looking at a menu, you can remember descriptive words that are things you want to look for, such as broiled, steamed, blackened, baked, and things you want to skip, such as fried, battered, buttery, creamy. So the foods on the left are going to be things that are a little fresher and maybe not packed with so much fat or trans fats, some of those things that we talked about at the beginning, and your fried food, your battered food, and then probably having a lot less sugar as well. So those are just kind of the words you can look for. And then make sure to plan ahead. So think about what you're ordering before you place the order, making sure that you're ordering a healthy item before you place that order. Don't order food when you're already starving, because we know that when we're starving, we tend to eat a lot more than we would otherwise. So make sure that you are being mindful of that. And then portion size matters. So split a meal if you can, and make sure that you aren't, if you are going to order food for a couple of meals, that you're being true to that and not just eating it all at once. And then fill up on water as well. So this is kind of a general tip that we promote all the time, but making sure that you drink enough water before you eat can make you actually eat less in a meal. So that can be just an easy trick.
Those are some great tips. Thank you. And then eating healthy at home. So right now we're eating a lot at home. So we want to talk about bringing your plate to the table and not the whole entire serving dish. I think that can help a lot with portion control. And then also we talked about it a little bit before, but practicing mindful eating. So just really enjoying your food and slowly eating it instead of just scarfing it all down is a great way to not eat too much. And then also maybe sitting at a table with your family or your roommate instead of in front of the TV can also help with the mindful eating aspect too. So you're really savoring it, you're talking with people, you're connecting with people, especially during this time, as it's maybe harder to connect, even if you could do it over FaceTime with a friend. Um, and then some substitutions that we thought would be great to choose over others would be like olive oil instead of canola oil, or Greek yogurt over sour cream or mayo, um, olive oil and balsamic vinegar over like a bottled salad dressing, 100% whole wheat bread versus white bread, rolled oats versus breadcrumbs. And so those are just a couple options that we thought would be great. Also, practicing putting our leftovers away for another meal was a great thing that we talked about. And then keeping the maybe even having some in the fridge and then maybe freezing some as well. And we wanted to also add saving time with food prep. Pre-planning your meals and your budget for each week. You buy and order your groceries. So we talked a lot about that. That can help with eating in general, eating healthy in general, but just planning those things out can save a lot of time. Like we talked about in the last slide, making more and freezing leftovers for additional meals. A slow cooker is a great option right now for not a lot of prep or cleanup. Also, an instant pot is a really great way that can make recipes in about 40-45 minutes. And then there's also an air fryer. There's so many other gadgets out there where you don't have to use 4 or 5 pots for cleanup. And then having your children help in the kitchen with preparing or cleanup. I know as little as 3, they can help in the kitchen with salads or just getting things prepared and set out for you. And then putting your dishes in the dishwasher and not right in the sink. I know that sounds really basic, but they can pile up throughout the day. So just taking the time to wash that dish off and then put it in the dishwasher, I think is a great way to save some time.
That's great ideas, Caitlin. I know we're working on all of those in our household right now because it can be a lot, especially with some of the added responsibilities of maybe working from home or some of those other things. So these are great suggestions.
Yes.
So finally, we want to get to just some resources for you to help you on your journey to better nutrition. So one, of course, we want to highlight is Our Best Health program has health coaching available. It's no cost, a 6-week program with a weekly phone call to a health coach, and you work with the same health coach each week, which is nice. You build a relationship with that person. And this is really a goal-oriented program with customized plans, and they can help you break down your barriers and your challenges and kind of help you action plan a bit to get to your goals. So if you haven't tried this, this can be a great way to actually help get to some of these goals that you want to do with nutrition, but they also cover a lot of other topics listed here, such as weight management, tobacco cessation, exercise, and stress management. So sometimes you weave in and out of different topics as you're trying to get to solving some of your personal problems, but this can be a really great resource for you all. So if you want to reach out to them via email and get set up, we just wanted to make sure that you have access to that.
All right. And then also some apps that you can utilize during just this healthy eating time would be MyFitnessPal. It's one of the most popular health apps. It helps you keep track of your daily food and beverage intake. And you can calculate your nutrients, your calories, and your vitamins for your specific goals. And then See How You Eat is a simple photo food journal app to see what you've been eating. So that can help a lot with your colorful plate, like we talked about. And then Lose It is a calorie counting app that helps you track food and exercise to lose weight.
Awesome. So we want to just say thank you to everybody who hopped on this webinar, and hopefully you got some really great information on eating healthier right now. And if you do want any more information, there are some resources listed in our references page. And we just want to send our best to you all on your nutrition journey and hope that you can eat better during these times.
Thank you.